Hey guys, welcome again to one more activity of this Elevate 2025 AI and Engineering Excellence event. We're very happy to have you all here. Today, we're going to learn about maximizing your English learning, effective strategies for using AI tools. This is a talk delivered by two Gap talents that we all know and love, Mari and Juan, our teachers. But let me tell you a little bit more about them. Marisol Flores has over 30 years of experience as an English trainer and is passionate about helping others discover their unique English language personality. Her work centers on personalized training, communication strategies, adult learning, and curriculum development. She's always grounded in the best belief that learning should be fun. For the past 13 years, she has been working at Gap and has collaborated with universities, institutes, and business, inspiring learners to grow with confidence. Outside the classroom, she enjoys volunteering with seniors, exploring new cultures, trying different cuisines, and offering help whenever she can. We also have Juan Diego Valencia, that brings over 16 years of experience as an educator in diverse contexts, including 7 years at Gap. He specializes in content and curriculum creation, designing for dynamic learning environments. A tech enthusiast at heart, he constantly explores innovative ways to streamline processes and enhance the effectiveness of educational products and team workflows. He is passionate about continuous learning and enjoys getting lost in a good book as well. So we have that in common. So without further ado, let me leave you with Juan D and Mari.
Great. Thank you very much, Cami, for that nice introduction. So welcome, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to our session called Maximizing Your English Learning, Effective Strategies for Using AI Tools. Sorry, Mary, you're muted.
Sorry about that. You see, technology always against me. Okay. Nowadays, it's a general truth that we all need sharp English skills. No matter how much we say we know English, there's always room for improvement. It's not just about learning the grammar or vocabulary. It's about confidently participating in meetings, writing documentation that makes sense to everyone, and collaborating across teams. Lately, though, we've seen a common trap. We're using AI to do all the work for us instead of using it to help us learn. And that's why we're here today. Our goal is simple: show you how to use AI the right way to build real skills in the language, not just to pass a course. English, as we know, has become, believe it or not, a new programming language. So let's explore how to make AI your learning partner, not just a shortcut.
Great. So as we have been saying, AI is here to help. Tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude are no longer just cool experiments. They're powerful allies in language learning. AI tools can give us access to personalized guidance anytime, anywhere, real-time corrections and feedback, and interactive voice conversations to simulate real-life communication. Let's begin by exploring why these tools work so well. So what does AI offer? First, a non-judgmental environment. You can try, fail, and try again without embarrassment. And adaptive feedback. The more you interact, the more tailored the responses become. And multimodal learning. You can combine reading, writing, listening, and, believe it or not, speaking too. And the idea is to have a full skill workout through these tools. Plus, for software engineers, the benefits go even further. You can simulate technical interviews, discuss complex coding concepts, or even draft code comments in English. AI helps you build both technical language skills and everyday communication in one seamless experience.
First things first. When beginning your interaction with AI, it's paramount, guys, believe me, to provide as much as context as possible in your prompt. So what do we need to include? First of all, first and foremost, your English level, okay, whether you're a beginner, an intermediate, or an advanced learner. So AI responses will match to your comprehension and learning abilities or needs. Context. Why context? Well, you can indicate what you do and why you're learning English. Be specific about being an English learner. Then you can talk about also your learning goal. What do you want to improve? Is it fluency? Is it vocabulary? Is it grammar? Is it pronunciation? Or is it business emails? Or is that you want to really have casual conversations or small talk with the clients? Or you want to convince the client about something? How can you improve your own speech around that? Then you definitely need to provide some topic. What are you preparing for? Are you preparing for an interview? Are you preparing for a meeting, upcoming meeting, a very important meeting with stakeholders? Are you traveling for pleasure or for business or just practicing casual conversation? Whatever the case, make sure to prompt it as well.
It's important to also include your preferred style. Do you want formal or informal language? Do you prefer lengthy or concise explanations? What we'll see in the demos we'll share with you today that you should always be asking for explanations from what AI is giving you. Then it's also important to include the type of practice that you want. For example, you might ask to have a role play with the AI tool or an exercise for filling the blanks, pronunciation tips, a short dialogue, among many other options you can think of. And finally, it's important to include your native language. This is optional, but very useful. It helps AI signal common mistakes that native speakers of our language, Spanish, tend to make. Of course, ask AI to highlight those when pertinent. So here is an example of a strong prompt that's still concise, depending on what the person needs in this case. I am an advanced front-end software engineer from Costa Rica. I am an intermediate English learner. I want to practice small talk for virtual meetings with a client.
Great. Now we're going to start tackling how AI can help us practice each of the main language skills, meaning reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And not also pronunciation, not considered a major skill, but a sub skill as well. We'll provide example prompts, walk through scenarios, and explain exactly how to apply AI tools every day, especially Gemini or ChatGPT. Reading and writing are foundational skills, okay? Are the ones that we're going to tackle first, especially when you're trying to make sense of technical documentation, user stories, or blog posts. So we're going to start with the so-called passive skills. So let's get started with reading. What can I do? Okay, reading with AI. We see that AI can definitely generate custom articles based on your interest and level. Okay, you're interested in beauty or you're interested in something not necessarily job related, but it might also be job related. You can ask it to generate. Just be careful with some of the hallucinations that might come along. So always double check sources. You can also break down difficult vocabulary. This is very important, right? Sometimes we don't know vocabulary, and this is a great opportunity to ask AI for meaning and using the vocabulary in context. And for me, what's most important that you can use AI to explain cultural nuances and idioms. Why is this important? If we really want to communicate, get our message across our clientele, we need to understand a lot about their culture and also the way that they generally speak. It's not the same learning from a language book than really interacting with people. And this is what AI brings, real life interaction. So you can even talk a little bit casual or formal, so you can always adapt the tone to what you want. Okay, let's see some practical applications now. What are those? First of all, you can learn through context. You may ask ChatGPT or Gemini, write an article about cybersecurity trends with intermediate level English. That's my level. I will really grasp the information there comfortably. Then you can say, list all the technical terms and define them in simple language. Sometimes, and you know about this, we don't have clients who are techie savvy. And sometimes we are so immersed in the technical jargon that we miss opportunities to connect with the client just because we're not using layman terms. So that's something that we need to keep in mind. And then you can follow up with ask me 5 comprehension questions about the article. So you're going to be quizzing yourself. As Juandi mentioned at the beginning, these are the kind of prompts that give you definitely a real workout, a skill workout, a complete workout. Okay. But also we can deal with complex articles. Okay. Like, for instance, I come across a scientific article that I'm really interested. So I paste in the blog post, or I may ask the AI to summarize this in bullet points and then explain any idioms or phrasal verbs. Remember, idioms are those expressions that really have a very different meaning from the words themselves, and phrasal verbs are the ones that have a verb and then a preposition, like show up. He didn't show up for the meeting, right? Again, sometimes we don't understand those terms and they are mostly used in spoken English. That's why we need to ask for these help from AI tools. Okay. And last but not least, in reading, try to make it a daily habit. I practice once, I practice twice. It's good. But if we practice every day, it just gets better and better. Every morning, you can ask your AI, please provide a 3-paragraph article about AI in healthcare with a reading comprehension quiz at the end. And this is exactly how I'm going to start my demo. We're going to use this last prompt. So I'll be sharing screens, okay? And let me just start presenting. Give me a second so I get to the page. Okay, here we are. Okay, all right. I feel that you now can see my Gemini. Okay, and I'll paste that last prompt over there. Okay, please provide a 3-paragraph article about AI in healthcare with a reading comprehension quiz at the end. So let's see what we get. All right. So of course, it's going to give me a nice little 3-paragraph article on artificial intelligence related to the healthcare industry. Okay, but my goodness, this might be very difficult for me if I'm just beginning. And look at this, it has the quiz, okay? Oh, and it didn't give the answer. So that's something that you should always ask, also provide answers. But before it gives me some of the answers, let me tell it that I am the beginning level, okay? I'm a beginning English learner, okay? So let's see how that changes. Okay. All right, look at the difference, okay? You see this one, the first one is longer with more advanced vocabulary than this one. And then the quiz also changed to adapt it to my needs. And that will be like just a sneak peek of what comes later on. So let's continue, guys. And why does this work? Okay, it works because you get targeted vocabulary practice, real-time explanations, and self-evaluation without needing a teacher at all times. And Juandi, I think that we're back with you with another skill coming up.
Great. So let's continue with examples of how we can practice writing with AI. You know that writing is where we produce language. It's often where people feel insecure. But with AI, you can write anything. You can write emails, reports, code comments, like anything that comes to mind, and instantly improve. However, keep in mind that generating text without really understanding it can be detrimental to your learning process. Let's see some ways to practice writing correctly with AI. For professional communication, you can draft a message or email and then ask your AI tool of choice, improve this message and make it more professional. Explain the changes made in detail. A clarification here with what I was saying before, we advise against asking the AI to compose the email or the message from the beginning for you because you're not going to learn anything from it. If you try to draft it yourself first and then ask it to explain the changes and the improvements, you're going to get a lot more from this interaction. So we're going to have another quick demo of this initial one here in Gemini again. So I'm going to just paste in here an email that I wrote previously, which is very informal, not very appropriate for clients, right? And we're going to use the prompt that we just saw a moment ago. Let me just paste it here as well. So I have the email, and I'm going to say, improve this message and make it more professional. Explain the changes made in detail. We're going to submit it, and it will right away go ahead and say, here is a more professional version of your message, followed by an explanation of the changes. We have, as we just read, a more professional, more formal version of the same message that I'm trying to send. And more importantly, here we have a detailed explanation of all of the changes based on each of the sections of the email. So in the subject line, what was the original thing that I wrote? Well, it didn't even include one. What is the revised version? And then the reasoning behind the change that is being proposed. And we have this for all the different sections, for the salutation, the opening, and we have 3 different specific important points as to why this is being changed. Then we have the commitment and the next steps, which is something I wanted to mention in my email. And as you can see, it goes into very specified details explaining why each of the changes are suggested. So the important thing here is that I want to repeat and re-emphasize that we shouldn't be asking it to write the email for us. We should be asking it to correct it for us and explain why it's making changes. Great. So that's one of the examples. But another example of a prompt that we can use in this type of case would be something like, maybe you have a report ready, right? And you can ask it to make this report sound more concise and formal, explain the changes made in detail. That would be another example. Now, another case that we might want to use AI for when it comes to writing is for feedback and coaching. We have different example prompts we want to share with you here today. An example could be, correct this paragraph for grammar, specifically, explain the changes. Another example, rewrite this text using more advanced vocabulary and better transitions, explain the changes. As you can see in this case, I can ask it for specific things that I want to improve upon, like advanced vocabulary and transitions. Next example, give me a short text prompt, then review my response for grammar, vocabulary, and coherence. Explain the changes made in detail. In this case, the AI is going to come with a prompt instructing us to what we should be writing about and then giving us feedback on what we wrote. And another example could be, is this sentence culturally appropriate in a business email in the US? And then you paste the example that you want to double check. I humbly request your attention to this urgent matter. Very important, as we have been highlighting, also ask, explain the reasons why. So we can really learn about those cultural nuances that we have been mentioning are also very important. So yeah, always ask AI to explain the changes, corrections, or suggestions that it provides in any of the skills, actually. It's a great way to learn from your mistakes and also to make the most out of the tool instead of just having it give you something perfect already. So why does this work? So instant feedback helps you internalize rules, vocabulary, expressions, and cultural nuances, as we saw in the examples. You also learn tone, register, and clarity, which is very important. First, we need to understand who we're talking to so we can adapt our tone and register. And of course, always be as clear as possible. And these tools not only fix issues, but often explain them, supporting deeper learning. Just make sure to always ask for these.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you. And now we've come to enter the immersive zone of listening and speaking, which are the active skills. And by the way, the better we do listening and speaking, the better we will be able to interact with our clientele. These are the skills that definitely build fluency, rhythm, and confidence in live interactions. So, listening with AI, it's one of my favorite um, ways to practice English. Today, AI can be definitely your podcast, your audiobook reader, or even your listening coach. So let's go about some of the interactive strategies that we can have. Well, we might use ChatGTP or Gemini's voice mode. Remember that Gemini's voice mode, can only be used from the mobile app, not the desktop, at least not yet, right? But ChatGTP, even in its free version, you have these functionality. Okay, so you may say something like, read me a paragraph about finances or personal finance and quiz me afterwards. Or repeat the last sentence slower, then explain each of the words. Or you can just have it read something for you and take out the most important vocabulary. But you can also combine it with YouTube or blog content. As we can see from blogs, we can always copy paste. But what happens with YouTube? Unfortunately, we cannot have AI watching, not yet at least, watching YouTube videos. But what we can do is to select the transcript from the video and post it and discuss that video with ChatGTP or Gemini afterwards. Okay, so after you watch the video, you can say something like, create 5 listening comprehension questions based on the video transcript I've just said. Okay, so what else can we say? Ask for voice narration, and that's definitely my favorite feature. And you can say something like, please provide a list of phrasal verbs used in the video and explain their meaning. Again, you can interact by asking AI to give you more content to listen to. And you might be wondering, well, how does this all make sense? Okay, let's see it in action. All right, so I'll start sharing screens again. And this time I'm gonna go to YouTube, okay? All right, you should be able to see it. Okay, I'm here at YouTube. And let's suppose, yes, well, as a matter of fact, I have some sort of economical constraints lately. So this would be good advice for me. Okay, so personal finance. All right, so I need the script and I don't know where to find it. It used to be around here, but it's no longer there. So what do? We go to here where it says more. We click there, we scroll down, and we find the transcript. Okay, once we've got the transcript, it will open up on this side, and you can even just get rid of the time straps. Okay, or sorry, they were gone. Okay, and now you can just copy paste it. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, and now I'm changing screens to Gemini, and I'll paste the transcript, okay, just as it comes, and then I will ask them to create 5 listening comprehension questions, right? Let's see how that works. Right. Okay, here we've got the 5 listening comprehension questions based on the video that I was really interested. It didn't give me the answer, so I can ask uh, it to provide the correct answers once I have answered, right? And it was like, again, it will check it. But if I want a little bit more, and I can go and listen to it.
Here are 5 listening comprehension questions based on the provided transcript. 1. What was the speaker's initial financial situation after college, including their degree, debt, and first major purchase? 2. According to the speaker, what is the basic formula for winning at personal finance, and why is it?
Okay, so I can start answering as I go listening, right? So I kind of practice listening and answering, listening and answering. And this is very useful for real life conversations where we need to pay close attention to what the other party is saying. But again, here I can go further, not just listening, but ask them, please, please provide a list of phrasal verbs, right? As we had in the example of the prompts that we were telling you about. And then it will go to the audio and come up with a list of phrasal verbs, okay? Like chip away, come in, dig into, get out. Okay, it's not giving me some examples, so provide some example sentences, and how I can use them, right? Okay, and how I can use them in real life. Okay, again, I'm giving it good prompts. All right, and let's send this one and let's see. Okay, here, so it's giving me example, real life use, and even another example. So again, I keep asking based on what I was interested, but keep learning and keep moving forward. All right, but sometimes when listening, we get confused. Okay, oh my God, this person has an accent. Maybe I'm working with someone from India, right? And I'm nervous because I haven't been really exposed to that type of accent. So today we're going to give you the link to these other tool, which is called Love Voice, and it's GAP approved that we can use it. And it's really simple. And the best thing is that you do not have to log in to use it. So never mind about security issues here because you don't even have to log in. So as I was saying, let me get some of the text from Gemini and one of the prompts there or explanations from Gemini, and I'm going to paste it over here, right? So we're going to hear about the phrasal verb get out, right? And then I go here. Of course, it has English, the US, but I don't want English from the US. I want English from India. All right. And I want to really get exposed to that accent because I need practice on it. And I will leave Nirja, like she's a female, but you can also select a male voice, or let's try the male voice, right? Okay. And then you generate. It doesn't take long to generate, especially this one is really short, but you can post articles which are longer and anything that you want. There's no limit on that. Now I've created it.
Get out of debt, a hold to free oneself from a difficult situation or debt. Example, it took years, but I finally managed to get out of debt and start saving. Real life use, when celebrating a financial achievement or discussing strategies to overcome a problem. Another example, the company is working hard to get out of the hole they're in after a few bad investments.
Okay, so yes, yes. The first time that Wendy and I saw this, we were wow, mind blowing, mind blowing. Yes, and you get many different accents. Even in Spanish, you can get the accent from Argentina, right? Or the accent from Los Ticos or Colombia accent. So then again, I was playing the whole day with the tool. Was like, okay, yeah, it really makes sense. This is how we sound. So it's very accurate, by the way, and you can also download it to listen to it. So this is something that we definitely recommend you when you need to be exposed to different accents. Okay. And okay, I'll stop sharing now and let's go back to our original presentation. And why does this work? Okay, of course, you improve comprehension, intonation, and vocabulary recognition, right? Remember that English is very deceiving. When we see words, they're written in some way, but when we say them, they might completely sound different. So if we're reading and listening at the same time, we will definitely improve pronunciation, intonation. And of course, repetition helps you understand natural pronunciation, of course. All right, so back with Juandi with the most and the best of all, the skill that we all want to master, speaking
Great. The most
skills.
anticipated one, which is speaking. In this case, how can we practice it with AI? So this is the most powerful feature, actually. Tools like ChatGPT's and Gemini's voice mode allow two-way conversations, like real-time conversations. You speak, and it responds to what you're saying. Let's see some voice practice examples so we can have with AI tools. For example, role play scenarios. You can use prompts like these. Pretend you are a client. Ask me technical interview questions in case you're preparing for this, right? Another example, simulate a coffee shop order conversation. Of course, you can change this for any other everyday type of interaction that you want to practice. And the last example here, I need to practice small talk. We hear you. We have a lot of people, a lot of gapsters saying, yes, maybe I feel more comfortable with the technical discussions, but I'm not so good with small talk. Well, you have a 24/7 practice partner here that can give you feedback. Another of the cases would be to practice accent and pronunciation specifically. So you can give it extra prompts to kind of guide it as to the kind of feedback that you want to receive. For example, listen to me carefully during our conversation and tell me what I mispronounced. Or rate my fluency on a scale from 1 to 10 and explain how I can improve. Kind of combining all of this together, you can have spontaneous conversations and say something like, ask me a random questions about my work and let's have a natural conversation. So we're actually going to have a demo on how this would work. You know, this is a little bit unpredictable because it kind of reacts on the moment to what you're saying. But I would like to clarify first that for this demo's purpose, I'm going to intentionally make some mistakes so that the AI tool can provide some feedback and you guys can see how it works. Actually, I'm going to combine 3 prompts this time to kind of give it as much feedback as possible as we have been, not feedback, sorry, as much context as possible as we have been saying from the beginning. Here in ChatGPT, you have here at the bottom right corner, the use voice mode button. So here we go. I am an intermediate English learner. Ask me random questions about my work and let's have a natural conversation. Listen to my answers and provide detailed feedback on all the words I mispronounced, but wait until the end of our conversation. Give me all the corrections possible without skipping any and explain how I can improve.
That sounds like a fun challenge. All right, let's start with something simple. Can you tell me about a typical day at work for you? What kind of tasks do you usually handle?
I am a front-end React developer.
Oh, that's awesome. Working with React must be interesting. What's your favorite part about working with React? And are there any challenges that you often face?
There are many documentation.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of documentation to keep up with. It's one of those things that can be both a blessing and a challenge. How do you usually manage to stay updated with all the new changes and updates in the React world?
Like yesterday, I watched a video to get updated.
That's a great way to stay updated. Watching videos and tutorials can really help keep you in the loop. Do you have any favorite resources or channels that you like to follow for learning new things?
Sorry, can you give me my feedback now?
Of course, you did a great job overall. Just a couple of small things to note. When you mentioned there are many documentation, it would be better to say there is a lot of documentation or there are many documents. That way it matches the singular or plural form correctly. Other than that, you sounded great. Keep practicing and you'll keep improving.
Sorry, can you repeat that more slowly, please?
Of course. So when you said there are many documentation, a more natural way would be to say there is a lot of documentation or there are many documents.
Okay, we're gonna stop it here for a second, right? Of course, you can drill it more and say, no, I know that I mispronounced some words. Can you focus on pronunciation? And it will kind of go back to everything you said and provide the specific feedback on it. So as you saw, you can slow down the AI by prompting it literally saying, no, stop, can you go more slowly, right? And it will go back and say what it said to you. You can always be prompting back and forth in between the conversation, and it will adapt to what you want to practice, right? So something that we also wanted to share here is that, as you can see, the full transcript of everything you said and the AI said, the full conversation is kept in your history of conversations with ChatGPT, so you can check it out later down the road if you choose to do so. It's a good way to kind of go back a couple of steps into your conversations. Now, one final important clarification. Mary was also mentioning this. You can do all of this with the free version of ChatGPT. You don't need a paid version, but of course, there is a limit. You will get to a point where it will say, okay, so you have used this for X minutes, so you have to wait X amount of time to use it again. For unlimited voice interactions with ChatGPT, you would need a pro subscription. If you already have it, then you can get the most out of this for sure. However, you can also use Gemini's voice mode on your phone. That's another option that is worth considering. Excellent. So let's get back here. And why does this work? Like, what are we getting out of this? So you get instant pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary corrections, like whatever mistakes you make sure to always ask for it. And if it's not giving you enough feedback, go back to it and prompt it to listen again more carefully and give you even more feedback. You simulate real world interactions. There's just a one or less than a second delay between what you say and how they respond. And that's the best way you can have practice at any moment. And it helps boost confidence through safe repetition and practice for as long as you want, as many times as you want, without feeling the pressure of another person listening to you and having to provide the corrections. Let's get back to Mary.
Thank you. So at the beginning, we said that we wanted to provide a full workout, right? So that's what we're doing right now. So let's connect it all. One-time practice, as I said before, is good, but building a routine is what really leads to English mastery. So what are the sample daily routine that you can have? First of all, you can ask in the morning, you can ask your AI tool of choice, give me a 3-paragraph article about, and you read it. Then you can tell it, quiz me about the article, ask me 3 comprehension questions, as we did in the demo. And finally, you can summarize the article on your own and then ask AI. Summarize it in 3 sentences, and then you will compare what the AI wrote with what you wrote, and that will be just enlightening. You will learn how to fix it, or you will deduct it from the one that you're seeing from AI if yours has many different sentences or structures. Okay, so comparing is always a good thing to learn. In the afternoon, you can do a quick role play, like you can ask it to simulate a project update with my manager. So in the speaking part, I want to do that, and I want to practice that. I'm giving that daily stand-up status, okay? And then you can say, quiz me about the article. Sorry, how can I improve this sentence? Okay, and then you listen. Okay, while you were answering, you can listen to how you could improve some sentence. And finally, you can go ahead and ask for new vocabulary meanings by saying, select the most challenging vocabulary from our conversation and explain their meaning on detail. So again, we're practicing speaking, we're practicing listening, we're going over learning vocabulary and also practicing listening in the afternoon, okay? And once you've done that, you can even ask AI to provide feedback on what you wrote. Again, give me some feedback. What can I improve? What is that I'm still doing incorrectly? What I'm still doing wrong? And then you can keep going. All right. And once you do that, in the evening, you can have a free conversation like, let's talk about my day, ask me follow-up questions, and provide feedback at the end. Ask me about my day. Again, here, very important, you'll be practicing past tenses. That it's something that we have seen that many people in the company do not handle in a very nice way. So it's always important to practice those tenses. And one of the most important things about these daily routine is that it doesn't have to take you long. 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, and 5 minutes before going to bed. And that will be 25 minutes every single day. Within a month, you will be rocking it.
Definitely. So there is no excuse for not kind of implementing this into your workflow, as you don't need an hour or two. Let's to start finishing it up here. Let's talk about specialized prompts according to target skills. So you can level up your prompts and make them more concise, and they can help you target specific language needs at will. And we have some examples for you. As if, for example, what you want to work on is grammar mastery, you can use prompts like these. Explain the difference between present perfect and past perfect with examples. Afterward, let's have a conversation where those tenses should be naturally used. Of course, it doesn't have to be these two language structures. It can be any other one or two that you want to practice. Another example prompt here would be create exercises for confusing prepositions like in, on, at, and provide feedback on my answers. It will create a full quiz for you where you will provide the answers, and it will tell you what was right and what was wrong. One last example for grammar mastery would be, give me 5 idioms about success and explain them. Then let's have a conversation where I try to use them in context, provide feedback on my use of them afterwards. Of course, as the conversation starts, you need to try to naturally include those idioms that you're learning about. As another example, you might want to work on expanding your vocabulary. That's another language specific skill that you want to target. So you can use prompts like this. List 5 advanced synonyms for important and explain their tone and register. Of course, you will replace the word important for any other word that you want to learn synonyms for. Provide real-life examples of when and how to use them in business. And it will go ahead and give you all the context needed. Another example prompt would be, give me flashcards for tech vocabulary and quiz me afterwards. Of course, in this example, tech vocabulary is very broad. You can be more specific with the type of vocabulary flashcards that you want, and then you'll have the opportunity to practice with them directly with the help of AI. Great. There is, sorry, before I leave here, there is a little creative tip, which is to make your own custom Gemini gem. You know, it is like a specific custom chat with Gemini that you can create and personalize with preferred practice exercises, vocabulary, and the feedback style that you would like to get. So you don't have to keep repeating that every time you start a conversation. And you can always go back to that gem when needed and go ahead with your practice.
For non-native speakers in technology, interactive tools significantly boost language learning by integrating all the different language skills and sub-skills together: conversation, listening, reading, writing, vocabulary, and pronunciation, along with feedback. These methods definitely help build confidence and fluency at a personalized pace. You don't need a teacher 24/7. What you can do with your teacher is practice ahead, ask them for advice on what grammar structures you're most likely needing help, so you can practice with your AI. Even short daily routines can make a huge difference in your language skills. Every conversation, every challenging text, and every quiz is a step closer to mastering English.
Definitely. So in conclusion, remember that AI is not just a tool, it's a partner. That's what we want you to live with from this talk. It supports you as you make mistakes and learn from them, as you speak more confidently, understand complex grammar and vocabulary, and build habits that move you forward toward fluency. So with this in mind, we are now here at our Q&A section. Do you guys have any questions you would like to share so we can clarify for everyone? Yes, definitely. We'll give you a copy of a handout that I'll give you in a moment with some more examples and general recommendations, as well as a link for the presentation so you can have all the prompts. You're welcome, Navi. Anybody else has any questions? Okay, it seems like we are good. Excellent.
Okay, thank you guys so much for joining us. Here Juan Di will share with you the handout where you will find definitely example prompts as the ones that we presented today to practice English using AI, along with some useful links as additional resources that you may take a look at. And thank you for being part of this session.
Let's keep learning one small step at a time. So thank you for joining us. I shared both links there for the handout and also for the presentation. We'll leave you quickly with Cami for the closure of the talk. Thank you for your attention.
Hey guys, thank you first of all to the teachers for their knowledge. This is very helpful. I hope you guys all use it wisely, so we don't have like. Have you guys watched the movie Hair? We don't want that to happen here. So yeah, but it was amazing. I'm mind blown with today's talk. So thank you guys so much. And if you guys feel the same way, or you have anything else you would like to share, I just share with you in the chat the feedback form, so you can leave your comments and we can learn what to improve for upcoming events. So thank you guys again, and see you in the next one.
Bye now. Thank you.
Thank you, teachers.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.